Good morning, everybody. So, as you can see, I'm in my car, and I had one of my coworkers call me. Her husband works for HPD, and we spent some time on the phone yesterday because he took her out yesterday. She lives in Stafford, and he took her out yesterday to navigate a route for her to be able to get to work. And he basically told her that, if they could not navigate a route for her to go to work, that she was going to be staying at home. And I can appreciate that. But yeah, so that's where we are. I'm actually out right now. I just left, and talking to her. This is not a very comfortable situation to be in at all, because number one, the sun has not completely come up yet, and our area of town is dry. I live 2 blocks from where I work, and I'm literally gonna have to go so far down the street that I live off of, get on a major highway, come all the way up, and then all the way around just to get on the other side of where I work to come in, because everything on my side is flooded. So, needless to say, I'm not happy about that. I spent time with my husband last night trying to figure out how to not have to do that. I tried to look at some of the main cross streets. The unfortunate thing is, while I may be able to get to those cross streets, they do not take me far enough. I don't know what direction that is, but they do not take me close enough to either my job or to a highway or street that I can get to my job. So I don't, at this stage, because what the heck? Google Maps, it does not give you all of the streets that are flooded, because some of the streets that we know are flooded because of the news and because of us being out and about, and my husband, he's been able to go to work, but he has had to be, just a little creative in getting there, and has, developed a path for himself, come up with a route. But some of the streets and stuff that we know are flooded is not showing up on Google Maps. And that's deceiving, because if somebody were to use Google Maps and follow their directions, like through neighborhoods or, certain areas, they will wind up stuck, because either stuck or have to turn around, because Google Maps does not show that street closed off due to flooding. And I was getting very frustrated last night, because as he and I were talking, I've been watching the news more than he has, and as he and I were talking, he kept saying, well, you can just go this way, and I'm like, no, I can't. That street, that area is flooded. I said, I've been sitting at home watching on the news for the last few days, and I'm seeing streets that are mentioned and different stuff like that, and I'm like, no, that area of that street is flooded out. And so he was like, okay, we can't go that way, you got to do this. Okay. And at some point, I'm not trying to be funny, but I checked out. I just stopped listening, because I'm not a person that can't deal with pressure. But this, to me, this is not pressure. This is trying to navigate in uncharted territory. I'm familiar with the area, but we're talking about not knowing if these streets are flooded off. One of the things that I communicated to my boss was my discomfort comes with not being familiar with these neighborhoods that are around me, because I don't have to go into these neighborhoods for anything. So here's my scenario. I get in my car, and because there's a neighborhood close by, like yesterday I ventured out and I turned down one of the streets, and I started seeing all the signs of the residents, you know, where they have put up please do not enter, that is flooded. And you go, you know, a little further down, and all you see is cars underwater. So my concern is, I get out here and I'm trying to cut through these neighborhoods to try to get on the other side, and I find myself in a situation where there's high water, and I'm not familiar enough with the neighborhood to navigate my way back out. And so now I'm either knocking on somebody's door, or, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to get the heck, you know, out of the neighborhood. So anyway, this is just me rambling. There's so much that I'm processing through my mind. I'm not concerned about the road that I'm on. You know, I'll see when I get down here, because they did say this area where I have to actually connect with the freeway is, or not is, it was, you know, pretty flooded. But again, my husband and I ventured out. We ventured out Tuesday evening down this way, and we were just trying to I don't want to say testing the waters, because we definitely weren't doing that, but we kind of were just trying to see how far down we would be able to go. So we know that, you know, we got pretty far down. Anyway, there are plenty of cars on the road. I see people going to work. I guess I'll check back in, you know, when I finally make it to work. I'll see y'all later. So far, it's been a clear shot, straight down the street. Oh, crap. Well, I just got on the freeway, and it is packed. It is packed. So we'll see how long it takes me to get from here to my destination, 2 blocks up from my house. Thank you, Harvey. I'll check back in. Okay, so once I navigated past all the traffic, the traffic was basically going 2 ways. There are 2 different highways that come together. The highway that I have to go on to get to my job is the one that had the least amount of traffic. The traffic going on the other highway was it's always very congested, but it was very congested, even more congested this morning, because as we got to the point where the highway split off, you could look over and see that either there was an accident or there was some type of stall or something happened, because as I was getting ready to get on the freeway, and here go another nut turning from a lane that only goes straight into a lane that you turn. So these people are just, oh my gosh. Anyway, a fire truck passed me. So by the time we got up to where the highways split off, that's where the fire truck was. So I'm not really sure what was going on, but that added to the congestion on that highway. So I'm actually approaching the street where my office is. Well, not that street, but I'm approaching the street where I need to turn to get to my office. And it's all clear over here. You know, and I see people going straight, which is, guess now I'm wondering how far down they're going to be able to go, because all of that was flooded last night. They were rescuing people. So I'm kind of curious to know if there's a way for me to go, instead of me going all the way back around. I'm tempted to go in that neighborhood today to see if ooh, there's a huge hole right there. Oh my God. I'm tempted to go in that neighborhood to see if I can see somebody on the way home that'll tell me how to get around that neighborhood. So that'll be great if I can do that, because then that means I don't have to go the long way back home, because it was already nuts coming in with the traffic, and I know getting off that traffic is even worse. So we'll see. Sister's not up, and she ain't happy. I don't know why I went behind this car. So anywho, I'll check in with y'all a little later. All right, we're here. So what's up, everybody? And my day is over with, and I actually wound up staying another almost an hour. Me and my boss got to talking, and you know, we just found ourselves just talking about some everything. And so I had to go the long way around to get to work. But I have a coworker who lives down the street from me, and I found out through another coworker that she was able to divert through a neighborhood. Her cousin had called her because her cousin lives in the direction that she was trying to go, and happened to have, you know, her cousin knows the neighborhood well, and she happened to have cut through the neighborhood. So she called my coworker and told her what streets to take, and so she drove the streets this morning instead of doing what I did. And she said that had her, wow, oh my God, oh my God, this is so dangerous. She said that had her cousin not called her, then she would have done the same thing I did. She didn't know what else to do. You know, she was at a loss just like I was. And anyway, so she gave me the directions, and I'm now headed to take that route. And I'm really hoping that, you know, everything is fine. I feel okay. You know, she said that there was no trace of water or anything like that. So we're going to try it, and we're going to see. And I'll let y'all know when I make it home. Alrighty. Okay, everybody. So this has definitely been an adventure. I'm going to have to try to figure out a better route to take. I just don't know if there is one. But it took me an hour to get off the first street that I turned on. The traffic was so bad, and just ridiculous. But I finally did make it over here to the street that I live off of. I'm leaving the grocery store, and that was not a fun journey. So, man, wow. So I left work at 3:20. 3:27 actually. I turned onto the first street. Well, first it took me longer than that. I left work. No, I'm saying 3:20 was 4 something. First of all, I left work an hour late because I told you I had a conversation with my boss. So, by the time I made it to the main, like the feeder of the freeway, it was 4:27, and it was about 4:50 by the time I decided to turn off. I kept seeing these cars turn on the street before you got to the light, which was the street that I needed to turn off on, that I needed to turn on. And so I followed the cars, and I wound up on the street that I needed to turn on. When I finally got on the street, it took me an hour from that point until I was able to make the next turn. I had to turn on 3 streets before I actually hit the street that I live on. And I still had to go a ways, probably about another 10 minutes from that point, once I got on the street that I live on, from that point to my house. So when I made the turn, diverted through the neighborhood, it was an hour. It took me 1 minute to get from the first street to the second street. It took me probably another minute to get from the second street to the street that I'm on now. That first leg of this journey was ridiculous. It was so much traffic, and I know that it's because people really don't have a straight shot to where they need to go. But I just didn't expect that. There are so many people out here, and I know people are, just now getting back to work and everything, and this is going to be a hard recovery, because I literally normally go 2 exits up from where I live, and it's taken me this morning, let's see, 6:37. It took me 45 minutes to get to work. This evening, it has taken me an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. I mean, I would have been home by now, but I stopped at the grocery store. So it took me twice as long to get home as it did to go to work. And I think that's due in part to the conversation that I had with my boss. So I'm going to see tomorrow. I'm going to give it another shot tomorrow, because if I leave on time tomorrow, I'm wondering if it will cut down on the commute time, because I would actually leave at my normal time. Leaving that hour later, people are already starting to get off. It's close to 5 o'clock. I kind of did myself in today. So I'm not frustrated or anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out what to do, because hopefully the next time, because tomorrow will be the last day that I need to make this trip for a little while, because I won't be going that way for probably about 10 days. So, we'll see. It is so pretty out here now. I know that there are some areas that are still flooded, but over here where I am, the sun is shining bright. Alright, y'all. I finally pulled up. Let's make sure I'm in here straight.